Good evening and welcome everybody to the Common Council meeting or Common Committee of the Whole meeting for March 8th, 2011. We're now in open session and we're continuing our discussion on the Plymouth Adult Community Center. I'll call on Alderman Dobrats to start the discussion. Alderman Dobrats.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm having a rather big problem with all the things that are said and done. Just recently there was an email sent out that said that the Adult Community Center was mismanaged. I know for a fact that the individual that did that has never been there, has never gone to the senior center, has never talked to the Committee on Aging, and has no other reason to be doing that. We know for a fact that we've been accredited, and we just got a new certification for continuing the accreditation for another 5 years. This is done by experts on senior centers with the Wisconsin Association of Senior Centers. They come in and they go over the whole thing, programs and everything, and they do it by the size of your center. And we've always come out looking very well. We do have a few things occasionally that we have to correct, and they always get corrected right almost immediately. We don't waste time doing it. My whole problem with this is there are a lot of rumors and a lot of talk and a lot of gossiping, and none of this stuff that you're bringing forth is even true. Why do you do this stuff? There's no need or need for it. It's impossible for people to do their work. I feel very sorry for the people on the Committee on Aging, which does include me. I don't know why you keep disrespecting them. You don't take any of they send back recommendations, you'd ignore them. And many times, rather than coming to the Committee on Aging when you have something you want done to the senior center, you don't do that. You completely ignore them and go ahead and just do whatever you want and just sweep it under the rug and say tough luck. I don't understand any of your thinking at all. In fact, I think you're very rude, and you have been rude for quite a time. And I'm looking at one guy, he knows who he is, and I'm just fed up with this nonsense. We have a Committee of Aging, our volunteers. They don't deserve to be treated the way you have been treating them. That's disrespect. And that should not happen.
I need to interrupt here, Alderman Dobrats, and we need to stay on the topic of the Plymouth Adult Community Center.
Well, that's the Committee on Aging is the Adult Community Center.
Okay.
They're the oversight committee.
That's
and
true.
I just want to be sure that they're going to be treated fairly. I don't want to have to hear that this is just because there's changes going on, that doesn't mean you should be as harsh as you have been with them. If you can't be professional, then don't make the remarks. It's not necessary. They're all good people. They all are experienced, and they've all done their job. I just detest anything that's said of that nature at all. I think some of you should actually apologize to them. That's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you. I think the important thing is that the council and the city appreciates our committee members who serve on all of our committees. We have a lot of committees and a lot of volunteers, and we're very appreciative of that. And I think that we look forward to working with committees in all regards and all respects. Appreciate the comments on that. Next item on the agenda is the discussion and review of draft purchase and sale agreement for 615 East Main. Calling Director Jurgis to give us a quick summary on that. And before we do that, I beg the indulgence of the council to extend the rules until 8:10, and then we'll take a committee of the whole break and then reconvene at 8:15. Is that okay with everybody? Okay, thank you very much. Director Jurgis?
In your packet, there's a document called Purchase and Sale Agreement. There's no action on this tonight. The Plan Commission reviewed the purchase and sale agreement for 615 East Main Street and recommended that that the purchase and sale agreement move forward to the council. Wanted you to have the opportunity to review the initial document. Currently, we have an employee who is volunteering their time to clean that property out, and that is ongoing. And when it is cleaned out, we will be putting it on the block, I guess, for sale through competitive bid process. And I draw your attention to section number 10. A through E are the requirements of the buyer's development and future use. There are several things in there you may want to note, including that it remains as a single-family residence, that construction activity begins, and that all renovations will be completed by the buyer. Now, there's a number of dates that are in there as a placeholder. I think the dates are probably going to end up changing, but this is kind of what the document's going to look like when we move forward with selling the property. With that, I would turn it over to Attorney Fieber if she has anything to add.
And I think your Director of City Services highlighted the important parts for the committee as a whole to focus on tonight. The only other thing I draw your attention to is the back taxes. The onus is on the buyer to be responsible for all of the prior taxes, interest, and penalties that have accrued and are continuing to accrue on that property.
Do we have an approximate round number on what that is at this point?
I don't recall exactly, but I think it was around 15,000, and I believe it is somewhere in there.
It's on the first page at the bottom as of March 1st.
Okay, 15 penalties and interest. Okay, so that's an awareness we certainly want to point out in the title that to be cleared, those are taxes owed Clerk Huberty to the city, the county, the school district, and LTC.
It would have to be paid to
Right.
the county
And then they would
just
pay it back. Okay. Alderperson Jarvis.
Thank
I'm
you,
sorry, drew a blank there.
On page 2, number 10D, the year of 2020, is that like a standard number of years that it has to remain, or did you just kind of pick that, or?
And Attorney Paul Dorsey with my office drafted it, so I'll speak to that as much as I can. But I think the idea is that there would be a date far enough in the future to allow this property to remain a single-family residence for a good period of time, but yet not forever. We all know that properties change over time, and at some point it may be appropriate for this area, being in the location it's in, near the downtown businesses, that it may at some point be appropriate for this to be a business location, and so we don't want to foreclose that possibility forever.
Because 8 years isn't that long in terms of.
And certainly it's adjustable. If you want 20, 30, that's fine.
Alderman Lottie?
I checked with our clerk, and I think that property's in a B2, is that a B2?
Yes, it
It's
is.
in a B2 zoning right now, it's in the business zoning. And I'm wondering, do you wanna change the zoning so it's a single-family residential, right smack in the middle of a block where all the other properties are B2? I would have a concern with that, you know, you might have whoever developer want to develop it, they might have a problem moving that piece of property as a single-family residence only when it's sitting in a B2 area. So, you know, somebody comes in and says, what's the zone? Well, it's B2. Well, now you're going to make me put a single-family residence. So some people have a concern about having a single-family in the business area. So I'm just wondering if that's germane to keep it a single-family.
And I guess that was something that I took away from prior discussions. Certainly, there's no requirement that it remain a single-family residence unless that's the desire of the council.
Because Mr. Mayor, again, when I looked at the properties in that area, you have a hotel there, you have a Legion there, you have a multifamily unit on the corner across the street, and I don't know if there's any other multifamily homes in that block or not. But I know that whole area is zoned to B2. So that just was my concern, was just having a residential.
And we can address that at the final
Yeah,
session too.
I-
This is simply a draft.
Yeah, I think the point was that the original discussion that we had, that there was some desire to keep it as single family, and so that's why that was put in there. Technically, that language could come out, and whoever would purchase it, however they want to use it, as long as they're purchasing it and they, it's zoned correctly for that use.
Okay, Alderman Sazlacek?
You know, as I read this, on number 11 there, that it is in substantial state of repair and has been subject of prior housing code violations, and in order to repair or raise, what if the purchaser decides to raise the building? Do these dates above then fall in line there, I guess?
And I'm not sure that I understand.
Well, I'm
your
just
question.
wondering if they want to tear it down and start over.
And I don't think that that's something that we're foreclosing, but we're saying it'll be used as a single-family residence. The impression that I get of people who are interested in this is that there's some historic value to this home, that they want to keep the structural integrity there, and reuse some of the brick and some of those special features of the property. But I don't think that the agreement forecloses the ability to tear it down and start over, if that's what they want to do.
Okay.
Alderman Dobrowitz?
I've had conversations with some people on that home, and they're interested in preserving it because it does have historical value. And a lot of these people were from the Historical Society. So they're very interested. If they get it, they will restore it.
Right.
Any other comments? I think this is good information for us to have available as it develops, and the director areas can bring it forward. At this time, we'll recess until 8:15, and then we'll reconvene the council.
That was very nice.
That's okay.
We should double check that zoning.
That is B2.
Is it,
Yeah.
people know that it
I
is?
know it's B2. Yeah.
Besides that,
I get penalized by Charlie every time I do this. I know. See?
Boneless thing.
Good evening and welcome to the Common Council meeting for March 8th, 2011. Clerk will call the roll, please.
Anderson. Dobraz.
Present.
Lottie.
Here.
Jarvis.
Here.
Fowler. Hertzler. Sedlacek. Here. Hanson.
Present.
Let the record show that we have a quorum. Next item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. Will please stand? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I think they want to listen to the discussion
I think so. They should.
now.
If you go against them, they'll catch you after a while.
Thank you and good evening, everybody in the audience and those at home. We appreciate you tuning in to the Common Council meeting. Next item on the agenda is the acceptance of the minutes of the regular meeting held February 22nd, 2011. The chair will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved, Alder Anderson.
Second, Alder Jarvis.
We have a first and a second to approve the regular minutes of the meeting held February 22nd, 2011. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Chair would like to amend the agenda, deleting item 13 this evening. Alderman Lottie?
You say 16?
13.
13, number 13.
Second, Sedlacek.
We have a first and a second to delete item 13. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Agenda stands amended. Thank you very much. Moving on, item 4 is the audience portion where we have people sign in to address the council. It's your chance to talk and we get to listen. And tonight we have no one that has signed in. We do encourage you to come and talk to us if you have something on your mind. Moving on, item 5. I declare a public hearing open, an ordinance repealing and recreating Section 3-1-174 zoning code fees and Section 14-1-90 D and E related to the plat and certified survey map fees, both of the municipal code of the city of Plymouth, Wisconsin. This is ordinance number 3, second reading. This was approved by the Plan Commission on February 3rd. I will stipulate that it is on file in the clerk's office, and people can look at it and review it there. And I do believe it's also online for the public to view. The chair will entertain a motion to approve, or I'm sorry, ahead of myself there. Open public hearing. The floor is open to anyone who wants to address the aforementioned ordinance repealing. I declare a public hearing closed. Chair will entertain a motion to approve the ordinance repealing and recreating Section 13-1-174 zoning code fees in Section 14-1-90 D and E as indicated. Any discussion? No, I'm asked for a motion. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Second, Alder Jarvis.
First and a second. Now we have any discussion. Clerk will call the roll.
Fowler.
Yes.
Hanson.
Yes.
Sedlacek.
Yes.
Bernstler.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Lottie.
Yes.
Jarvis.
Yes.
Dobratz.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Item 6A, an ordinance amending Section 2-2-5 (B) (2) related to the Standing Committee appointments of the Municipal Code of the City of Plymouth, Wisconsin. This is ordinance number 5, the first reading. I will stipulate that that is also on file in the clerk's office for the public review, and being the first reading, we encourage everybody to look at that and make comments to the clerk's office and or Director Yergis or your alderman or mayor. And we appreciate that. Do we want to summarize that at all, Clerk Huberty? Any high points?
And an amendment which was somehow left out of the amendment that was done at the last meeting. This designates that there was council confirmation needed for the appointments to the standing committees, the Finance and Personnel Committee.
Alderman, this is the first reading. We don't really have discussion at the first
We
reading.
don't have to have a second reading.
Well,
I would just make a motion that we.
if you're making a motion to waive it,
No,
you
to pass this ordinance as
and
it
waive
is.
the second.
Waive the second reading.
Second, Alder Jarvis.
We have a first and a second to waive the second reading and pass the ordinance. Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Alderman Lottie.
we actually passed this ordinance at the last meeting, but there was something left out that the council wasn't happy with, so this amendment came through, but it was a small change in the ordinance, and that's why I made the motion to waive the second reading and for passage of the ordinance.
Any other comment? We're doing a technical correction.
That's what I got going, okay.
Clerk will call the roll.
Dobratz. Rutz.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Jarvis.
Yes.
Lottie.
Yes.
Fowler.
Yes.
Hanson.
Yes.
Sedlacek.
Yes.
Fernsler.
Yes.
Motion carried, thank you. Under Ordinance 6B, an ordinance amending Section 13-1-109, specific requirements of the zoning code of the City of Plymouth, Wisconsin related to special event banners. Ordinance number 6, first reading, recommended by the Downtown Revitalization Committee and also the Plan Commission on March 3rd, 2011. Again, we'll stipulate that that is on file in the clerk's office and online, and we maybe should highlight that as well. Director Yergis, you want to maybe just comment on that?
Yeah, this goes back to late 2010. This ordinance has been in the front of the Downtown Revitalization Committee and the Plan Commission various times. What it does is it amends the banner sign ordinance and allows for the placement of a temporary banner up to 4 times a year, once per quarter, for no more than 30 days at a time. And then that Section B or Section 3B gives a definition to special event banners. A special event banner is intended to inform the public of a unique happening, action, purpose, or occasion. It gives discretion to the zoning administrator to determine what exactly a special event is, and the sign shall not exceed 32 square feet in size. So it amends the existing banner ordinance and provides for a banner to be off the side of a building on a flat, rigid surface such as a fence.
And I would encourage the public to check into this and read it and understand it, make sure that you know what we're changing here. We're trying to do banners correctly in the city without prohibiting them, but at least allowing people to participate in such a way. So we do encourage people to check that out and talk with our zoning ordinance individual. Pete, if you get some phone calls, blame me. So be it. Okay. Item 7, resolutions. A resolution creating the City of Plymouth zoning and subdivision fee schedule. Resolution number 6, approved by the Plan Commission on February 3rd, 2011. The ordinance is on, or the resolution is on file for inspection and clarification. Do we want to have a quick comment on that, Director Yergis?
The ordinance amendment
Pete?
essentially allowed the fees to come out of the ordinance and allow the council to set the fees by resolution, and so that's the big change here. We did that for the building inspection fees already, and this does it for the zoning fees. Plan Commission has recommended this fee structure, and basically it's getting the fees in place, and then on an annual or every other year basis or every couple of years, the Plan Commission and council would review the fee schedule. Historically, the city has reviewed the fee schedules on a much longer time period, 5 or more years in between amending fees. So that's essentially what this resolution does, set the fees and allows us to look at what the cost of all the permits is on one fee schedule rather than paging throughout the entire zoning code. So
Thank you. The chair will entertain a motion to approve so we can discuss.
So move, Mr. Mayor.
Second, Alder Anderson.
We have a first and a second to approve resolution number 6 as indicated. Discussion? Do we have to have a roll call on resolutions? Can we just say A or nay?
Well, it
Okay.
has to do with fees.
I would suggest you do
A roll call. Okay, that's fine. No discussion, clerk will call the roll.
Hanson.
Yes.
Jarvis. Sedlacek. Lottie.
Yes.
Fernsler. Dobratz. Fowler. Anderson.
Yes.
Motion carried, thank you. 7B, a resolution proposing to discontinue that portion of Prospect Avenue lying east of the east right-of-way of Appleton Street in the city of Plymouth, Sheboygan County, Wisconsin, pursuant to Wisconsin statute, section 66.1003. This is resolution number 9. And Director Yurgis, if you want to comment, or Attorney Feber.
I can just give the council a brief update on where we're at. To briefly summarize the process again, there would be 2 resolutions introduced to the council. The first would be tonight, and that would be, if passed, it would initiate the process to vacate a portion of Prospect Avenue. A list pendants was recorded, which is a required part of the vacation process. That was recorded yesterday, so that is in place. If this is approved tonight, then there will be notices that need to be sent to parties specified in the statutes, and that would be done. And then a public hearing would be held, and that would be on April 26, 2011, before the Common Council. And there's certain public notice requirements that would need to be published prior to the hearing.
Thank you. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the resolution.
So moved. Alder Anderson.
Second, Alder Lottie.
We have a first and a second to approve Resolution 9 as indicated and stipulated on the city website. Any discussion? Clerk will call the roll.
Anderson.
Yes.
Dobratz.
Yes.
Lottie.
Yes.
Jarvis.
Yes.
Fowler.
Yes.
Fernsler. Sedlacek.
Yes.
Hanson.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Resolution C, a resolution regarding the City of Plymouth Comprehensive Plan Public Participation Plan. This is resolution number 10. Calling Director Yurgis to summarize that for us, please.
As part of the comp plan amendment process, we need to approve a public participation plan. This is very similar to what we approved previously 9 or 10 years ago when we did the first plan. I do have some edits, just to note that the town of Linden and the town of Lima should be included in the list to receive drafts of the comprehensive plan. Last time, I believe they were left out, and someone brought to my attention that technically there are parts within 1.5 miles of the city, so we should allow them to comment on the city's comprehensive plan amendment as well. Once this is approved, we can begin working with UW Extension on starting to having the comp plan review meetings and begin that process.
Good. Thank you very much. Again, stipulating that this is on the city website for public inspection. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the resolution.
So move, Alder Lottie.
Second, Alder Anderson.
We have a first and a second to approve resolution number 10 as indicated. Any discussion? Clerk will call the roll.
Fernsler. Dobratz.
Yes.
Fowler.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Hanson.
Yes.
Jarvis.
Yes.
Sedlacek.
Yes.
Lottie.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Item 8, accept resignation of Jane Olig, Plymouth Adult Community Center Director, effective March 11th. Chair will entertain a motion to approve.
So move, Alder Lottie.
Second, Sedlacek.
We have a first and a second to accept the resignation of Jane Olig, Director of Plymouth Adult Community Center, effective March 11th, 2011. Any discussion? I would like to comment that I think Jane has put a lot of time into the community, and we certainly appreciate her efforts. in bringing the community together, and also being that she got it certified twice in her tenure, which is a credit to the community as well. Any other comments? Clerk will call the roll.
Lottie.
Yes.
Sedlacek.
Yes.
Jarvis.
Yes.
Hanson.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Fowler.
Yes.
Dobratz.
Yes.
Fernsler.
Yes.
Motion carried, thank you. Item 9, consider claim against the city from Larry Falk in the amount of $766.61. I'll ask Clerk Huberty to read Thomas Mann's opinion, please.
I am in receipt of the above claim that has been filed against the City of Plymouth. Based on the information that I have received, it is my understanding that the claimant incurred damage to his vehicle as a result of a manhole cover striking the side of his vehicle. The claimant has submitted 2 estimates for the damage, one for $797.58 and a second estimate for $766.61. I would suggest that you check with the street department to see if the city had prior notice of any problems with this area. If there was no prior notice of any defect, I would recommend that this claim be denied. However, if the city was aware of the problem and failed to take corrective action within a reasonable amount of time after the notice, consideration should be given to settling this claim. As you are aware, municipalities are held to a standard of reasonable care. The courts have determined that reasonable care is to periodically inspect city streets and take corrective action if warranted when placed on notice of a defect. According to the claimant, a barricade was put up after he reported this defect to the city, which would indicate the city took reasonable action once it was aware of this problem.
Thank you, Clerk Huberty. I would ask the city attorney, do you concur with that
Yes.
basis? Thank you. The chair will entertain a motion concerning the claim against the city in the amount of $766.61.
Mayor,
Alderman Lottie.
I'll make a motion to deny the claim.
Second, Alder Jarvis.
We have a first and a second to deny the claim in the amount of $766.61. Any discussion? Alderman Lottie.
Mr. Mayor, according to the email sent from Mr. Emick, Director of Public Works, that this was the first notice of any problem at that site. So, and it seems that when he was notified, he took prudent action to barricade it off. And that's why the reason I recommended denial, or I'm voting for denial.
Any other comment? Clerk will call the roll.
Fernsler.
Yes.
Dobratz.
Yes.
Fowler.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Hanson.
Yes.
Jarvis. Sedlacek.
Yes.
Lottie.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Item 10, approve 5-year reappointment of Richard Meyer to the Plymouth Housing Authority. This requires council confirmation. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the reappointment of Richard Meyer.
So move, Alder Anderson.
Second, Alder Hanson.
We have a first and a second to approve the reappointment of Richard Meyer to the Plymouth Housing Authority for a 5-year period. Any discussion?
I would recommend if the council is going to confirm the reappointment that the council waive the term limits for this appointment. As I understand it, he was appointed mid-term to fill somebody else's position, and so there may be a question as to whether he's exceeded the term limits.
Should we put that, amend the motion to include that?
That would be
That
the
would be
suggestion,
appropriate?
yes.
First and second agree with the amended motion to include that language, to waive any period on term,
Waive the term limits, yes.
term limit period. Okay, first and second agree. Any other discussion? Clerk will call the roll.
Lottie.
Yes.
Sedlacek.
Yes.
Jarvis.
Yes.
Hanson.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Fowler.
Yes.
Dobratz.
Yes.
Fernsler.
Yes.
Motion carried, thank you. Item 11, approve extraterritorial certified survey map for property on County Trunk C from Shirley and Dennis Steiner, recommended by the Plan Commission on March 3rd. The chair would ask that the motion be contingent on the Town of Plymouth approval if we so decide to approve it. It's not been approved by the town. Customarily, it comes to us after the town. Plan Commission was not aware of that, and we became aware of it since last Thursday, so we need to add that attachment to the motion. I would.
So moved.
Okay.
Second by Anderson.
We have a first and a second to approve the extraterritorial certified survey map as indicated with the contingency of having town approval. And I think that you know that. Okay. Any other comments? Alderman Lottie.
I just would like the public to know and the council know that there will be an outlot in there that does not front on any street or road. And just so you're aware of that you're creating an outlot in there. That's my-
Any other comment? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you very much. Item 12, approve Director Yergis to move forward and coordinate a service agreement with Frontier Communications. I'll ask Director Yergis to comment on that, and then we'll entertain a motion.
Yeah, there's a document in your packet, city phone contract, general fund operations. Basically, our Lambeau contract for phone service was originally with PowerCom, but Lambeau purchased or bought out PowerCom, and so our current phone service is through Lambeau. And we received a quote basically from Frontier Communications, which was previously Verizon in our service area, for switching phone services to Frontier from our Lambeau contract, which expires this spring. One of the reasons that we're looking at this was that there's a planned addition of 10 lines to the Emergency Operations Center, or EOC, and Lambeau quoted us at $39.99 per line, multiplied by 10 lines. That's $400. Frontier is willing to give us the state contract pricing on the phone rates, as well as provide basically the minimum charges to the city with federal taxes and so forth, and that totals up to $121 a month compared to the $400 a month. So when you take into consideration that, along with the 12.5% a month savings on our regular phone bill, that's approximately a savings of $5,243, or a 26% savings compared to if we activated those 10 lines through our Lambeau contract. And so I'm looking for the ability to coordinate switching over to Frontier, and because of how our Lambeau contract is, we have to give them 30 days notice that we're switching over to Frontier, and we need some lead time to coordinate that switch over with Frontier and have them come to the city and switch the phone lines and so forth. And I'm looking for direction to be able to coordinate that service with Frontier.
Thank you, Director Yergis. Chair will entertain a motion to approve Director Yergis to continue to implement the plan as described.
So moved, Alder Anderson.
Second, Alder Jarvis.
We have a first and a second to approve the plan. Any discussion?
The only other thing I should mention is that Mr. Emick and I have talked about the youth center and eliminating a phone line there and having a cell phone, which should be cheaper than having an active line available at all times. So when the youth center is open, a cell phone would be used if youth need to make a call. That should be cheaper than having a year-round active line there.
Alderman Lottie.
I would just ask Director Yergis, if you have a cell phone available, during the periods that someone else is using the center, there would be no active phone line there for emergencies, would there? unless they had a cell phone. The city wouldn't just put a cell phone there and leave it there. One of our youth people would have the cell phone supplied by the city, but when they're not there directing activity there and it's rented out to some other group, you would have no,
Correct, it would be similar to a park shelter or any other
okay, all right.
facility that the,
Okay, I just wanted to make it sure, make it,
It's not sitting there.
it's not, the phone's not sitting there, and these people, who's ever renting it, will have to have a cell phone if they want to have a telephone access while they got the, using the facility.
yeah, it would be similar if someone rented a park shelter. There's not a phone available.
Any other comments? Clerk will call the roll.
Jarvis.
Yes.
Fowler.
Yes.
Lottie.
Yes?
Hanson.
Yes.
Dobratz.
Yes.
Sedlacek.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Fernsler.
Yes.
Motion carried, thank you. Item 13 is our deleted item. Item 14, discussion and possible action regarding collective bargaining agreements. I think I'll ask Director Yergis to do a quick summary, and then we'll entertain a motion.
Okay. We talked about two memorandum of understandings, one with the Police Department Union, one with the Public Works Union. Those memorandum of understandings extend the contracts for a 2-year period from December 2011 through December 2013, so it's a 2-year contract extension coinciding with the 2-year budget at the state level. The police contract extension provides for a 2-year salary freeze with no other changes to that contract. So both 2012 and 2013, there'd be a salary freeze. The Public Works Memorandum of Understanding also provides for a 2-year salary wage freeze, and then also acknowledges that employees in the Public Works Department would begin paying 5.8% toward the pension as of January 2012. And so that's basically the memorandum of understandings. They extend the existing contracts, and those would be the changes in terms of wages and benefits.
Thank you. The Chair will entertain a motion to approve both memorandums of understanding as indicated.
So move, Alderman Lottie.
Second, Alder Jarvis.
We have a first and a second. Any discussion? Clerk will call the roll.
Sedlacek.
Yes.
Lottie.
Yes.
Fernsler.
Yes.
Dobratz.
Yes.
Fowler.
No.
Anderson.
Yes.
Hanson.
Yes.
Jarvis.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Item 15, award the contract for water main work along Railroad Corridor, Highland Avenue to South 57 as a project under TID 4 to DeGroat Incorporated, Green Bay, Wisconsin, for the contract price of $420,235.62. I would ask our utility manager, John McKinnon, to briefly summarize that for us, and then Chair will entertain a motion.
I'm pleased to report to you that we had 9 bids for this particular project, and the bids range from a low of $420,000 to a high of $512,000. The engineer's estimate for the construction part of this project was $488,000. The low bid here at $420,000 is over 10% less than the engineer's estimate. This project was laid out a year ago as part of the borrowing package that was put forward in 2010 for the utilities, and is a project that is identified underneath the TIF plan number 4, and we wish to proceed with it at this time. Any questions?
Thank you, John. The Chair will entertain a motion to award the contract as indicated.
So moved, Sedlacek.
Second, Alder Jarvis.
We have a first and a second to award the contract as indicated. in the amount of $420,235.62. Any discussion? Clerk will call the roll.
Fowler,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Sedlacek,
Yes.
Fernsler,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Lottie,
Yes,
Jarvis, Dobratz.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Item 16, approve 2010-11 tavern operator licenses as indicated, previously approved by the chief.
So move, Alder Hanson.
second Alder Lottie.
We have a first and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Item 17, approve treasurer's report and authorize payment of February vouchers. I'd ask Clerk Huberty to read that, please.
For the city of Plymouth, the balance on July 31st was $844,557.57. Receipts, $4,677,163.46. Disbursements, $5,477,694.98, leaving a balance on February 28th of $44,026.05. The Plymouth utilities on January 31st, $71.96. Receipts, $3,136,819.19. Disbursements, $3,136,811.08, and their balance on February 28th was $80.07.
Thank you. The Chair will entertain a motion to approve the treasurer's report and authorize payment of February vouchers.
So move Alder Lottie.
Second, Alder Jarvis.
We have a first and a second to approve the treasurer's report and authorize payment of February vouchers. Any discussion? Clerk will call the roll.
Dobratz,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Jarvis,
Yes.
Lottie,
Yes,
Fowler,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Sedlacek,
Yes.
Fernsler.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Under item 18, other business, a building permit report for February 2011. 13 permits were issued with an estimated total of $8,177,400. Item B, February reports acknowledged for filing. Clerks, DPW, Fire Department, Police Department, and the Senior Center Director. Item C, minutes acknowledged for filing. Committee on Aging, February 1st. Finance Committee, February 24th. Plan Commission, March 3rd. Item D, announced public hearing at City Hall, 128 Smith Street at 8 o'clock p.m. on March 29th, 2011, regarding an ordinance amending Section 13-1-109, specific requirements of the zoning code of the City of Plymouth, Wisconsin, related to special event banners. This is ordinance number 6. Chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
second.
We have a first and a second. All in favor, say aye. Opposed?